Hey everybody, welcome back to Legendary Language Learner. I'm Matthew Boyle, and in today's video I want to show you how I could use Heading into Language Land card game solo in order to promote and advance my own language learning. And today I'm going to show you how to play it in a really relaxing and flexible and open way, not such a strict way. I actually think to play in flexible ways and strict ways both have their pros and cons. Today I'm going to show you how to play in a really relaxing and flexible way that hopefully would excite you to learn a lot of new vocabulary in your target language. My target language is Mandarin, but it doesn't matter what target language you're after. You can use this game for any target language. So the first thing that you would do is pick out which character you want to be. I think you can pick any character. Some of the characters have their names are in white, some of the characters are in black. That's just to indicate two sides that are fighting each other. So you can choose any character you want, though it doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to choose today to be the wordsmith. Now the character you choose matters because if you want to attack enemies, then you have to be able to speak about the categories, the word categories that are on the card that you choose. So I may have to speak about nouns, jobs, tools, or handicrafts. Okay, so I'm going to put him here. Next, I need to build the board. And the board's going to be different every time. I'm going to shuffle these cards real quick. So the board is going to be a little bit different every time, and that's what's going to give the game a great exploratory feel, because no two games will ever play exactly the same. And you can make the board as small or as big as you want. I'm going to keep it really small today. Why not? Just make it a tight little board that can fit well on this video screen. The rest of the cards will go off to the side. Next, I have a dice that can keep track of my personal longevity points. We call them longevity points in this game. It's basically just points. And I start with 3 because once you get down to 0, that means you lose, you're knocked out, you're defeated. So by starting at 3, I give myself a little bit of leeway to make mistakes. And I could set how many points are required for me to win as high as I like. Obviously, if I need 15 or 20 points to win, it could take me longer and I might get knocked out earlier. It might be harder. So maybe let's say today, if I could just get 5 or 6 points on this video, I win, and we could call it the end of the video. I don't know if I'll get there, but let's see. I could also use this dice to keep track of my movement, especially if I'm just playing by myself. There's not many other pawns on the board. And then I also need a 6-sided die. And I have a pad of paper and pen to write down. If I have any trouble and there's some words that I can't say, I may make a note to research those words later. You could also have your computer next to you. I didn't want to get into that today because I didn't want it to be too obtrusive to the video, but I might play with my computer next to me and look up words that I need to say on the fly and maybe write them down as well to help ingrain them into my memory. Now, how do we play this game? Well, it's very simple and fun. First, you should decide where do you want to go and flip over that card. You have to move to a space next to you. Right now, I'm here. I'm off the board on this side. So let's say I want to move here. Okay, then I flip over that card. And I see that there is a character here with an opposite color name from my own. That means the character is an enemy to me. If I had chosen to be this character, and this character was here, again, I would be battling an enemy because they have opposite name colors. So if the character has an opposite name from me, then what I need to do is try to attack and defeat it. And to attack, I refer to the word categories on my own card or any of my team cards that I might accumulate later. So I rolled this dice to find out what I should speak about. Now I got a 6. Lucky me, because a 6 means I can choose any of these categories to talk about. It's up to me. If I were to roll a 1, in a game with other players, if I rolled a 1, that means the other players can choose and try to mess me up. But in a solo game, if I roll a 1, it's just plain old bad luck. I take a hit, -1 on this dice, and we'll just continue on, but I would just immediately take some damage. It would be as if this enemy hurt me or defeated me in battle. But I rolled a 6, so that means I can choose. And let's say that I would choose job, okay? I'll say 老师. 老师, that means teacher in Chinese. Now, I'm not totally sure what the tones are for that word, but I know how to spell it in pinyin. So I would just say tones and check my tones for that later. You see, I'm making some notes so I can learn as I go. I can check these later and make sure I'm really well prepared when I go to play against other people. Okay, but for me, for now, for this battle, that's good enough. Again, I'm playing in a really flexible, relaxing way. I know Lao Shi means teacher, I just don't know how to pronounce it perfectly. So let's say I defeat this character. What happens is this enemy is going to go to the bottom of the deck. It could eventually come back. And this space gets reloaded. It gets refilled with a new card. And then I go up 1 point to 4 because I succeeded. And finally, I can move my character to this card. I have now successfully moved to the place that I wanted to go. If I didn't succeed, I could not move. So this is how we move around the board. And if you were playing with other people and you move to the same spot as another player, you would have to fight that player. But for now, I just move to here. Now what's really fun too is when locations start to come up, because locations always stay face up where they are. So you can start to get a sense of a map here once locations start to pop up and stay. But I don't know what we're gonna get. It could be a character, it could be a pickup, it could be a location. Let's see. Let me say that I want to move over here now. Let's see what's here. Okay, it's an ally. Perfect. Because we have the same color name as ally, so if your character has a black name and you turn over a character with a black name, you are allies. 2 white names, well, it's the same color, so we are allies. Now, when you turn over an ally, your goal will be to get that ally to join your team for the mission ahead. So you will refer to the categories on their card. It's sort of like you have to pass their little riddle in order to let them join you. So let's roll the dice again and see what happens. 4. Okay. Well, 4 is a tourist destination. Okay, so I have to think of a really cool place that people like to go and speak that in my target language. I will say Jiangjiajie. Now, I don't quite know if my tones are right, but that is a famous park in China, akin to Yellowstone National Park in America. So I will put Jiangjiajie. And again, I want to check my tones on this so that if I play more strictly later or I play with other people, I can be prepared to really nail my tones in Mandarin. I think it's Jiangjiajie. I think I spelled that right. It might not be. It might be Jiang like this. If you study Mandarin, you know what I'm talking about here. This can be a little hard to note the difference. But anyway, Jiangjiajie is a national park. Okay, so let's say I succeeded there. What's going to happen? Well, this character would join my team. I will replace this board space with a fresh card. I will go up 1 point to 5, and then I can successfully move to this space. Now I have 2 allies here on my team, and this is something that's really exciting about this game. When you accumulate allies or pickups that build onto your team, when you face enemies, or when you have to destroy something or face another player in battle, you get to roll the dice and look at the categories on any of your team cards, so it increases your options. Also, these cards have special abilities too. But if you want to keep the game simple, you don't need to use the special abilities. You don't need to look at the rules on the cards. You can just play with the word categories and keep it really simple. Okay, let's do one more and see what happens. Now I could move back to here, obviously that's a new card, or I could move up to here. It doesn't really matter. In the game, it could be a bit more strategic because there will be other players and locations face up, and you might not want to get into a confrontation with someone until you're ready. But okay, let's say I want to move to this space now. Let's see what's up here. Okay, it's an enemy because opposite color is, the name is an opposite color from my team. All right, so I have to refer to the categories on my team in order to attack, but I have more options now. Let's roll the dice. 5. So I rolled a 5. I need to look at number 5 here or number 5 here. So I have 2 choices. Okay, I can say a type of handicraft or a type of idiom. Let me think for a moment. These are a bit harder when as you can see, the difficulty level of the category increases as the number increases. Handicraft. Idiom. I feel like I should know some Chinese idioms, but I just can't think of one off the top of my head. That's okay. Let's say in this instance, I totally failed. And actually, I really did. I'm not sure what to say. That's okay. On my notepad, I would write, I need to know a handicraft in Mandarin, and I need to know an idiom in Mandarin. I need to look some up and prepare myself for future battles. In this case, this enemy has 1. So we will not cycle it. We will not put it back into the deck. We will leave it here, and people will remember that this card is here. If they are on the team with black colors, they may like to come here to get this guy as their ally. And people who don't want to fight that character might avoid this space. So this will flip over and stay there. And I lose a point. I go back down to 4. Remember that if I get down to 0 points, I totally lose the game. Okay, but that's about it. That's how we play. I don't know if a location's here. Let me check really quick. Oh, there is a location here. If a location comes up, the locations always stay there. And to enter a location, you have to pass the word categories on the location. Once you do that, you move into the location. And when you leave the location, again, it always stays right there, face up. Locations don't leave, they don't change positions. And that lets you strategize and move to different locations that you want to in order to gain a certain advantage, get some attack bonus points when you launch a battle on someone, things like that, because the locations have special rules as well. I can give you an example. This is a difficult one because Og is a swamp. If you fail to enter or leave here, you have to take 1 LP damage. So it's kind of like you're getting caught up in the swamp. You're getting bogged down. So if you go wrong here and you don't know what to say with this location, it's really going to punish you extra hard. But other locations have different effects. Like it could lend you extra strength in a battle, or it could provide you with a way to get pickups or allies, things like that. All right, but that's it for today's game. As you can see, this is not just a game. This is an educational resource and tool. It's going to stretch you. It's not going to be easy. It's not even that easy for me, and I made the game. I didn't want it to be easy for me. I wanted it to stretch me as well, so it could be something that I would use. So as you can see here today, after a little 15-minute game, here's what I need to do as my homework. This would be my homework for myself. I can check out tones for teacher, the tones for Zhang Jiajie, and I can research a handicraft or idiom that I can say in Mandarin. And what I would do is, before I start this game again, before I play again, I would also refresh myself on the homework items that I researched. So when I finish completing this little homework here, I can study it before I play again and hopefully be better prepared. All right, that's it for today's game. By the way, you could just play like this indefinitely. You don't have to reach a winning number of points. You could set a winning number of points if you wanted to and say, I won, I finished, yay. Or you could just see how long you could play before you get defeated by the cards themselves. We'll stop it here today. I've got 4 points. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll like and subscribe to support this work that I'm doing with this card game, heading into Language Land, and to support the channel. I tend to put out a new video every Saturday these days, so come back and join me again. Bye-bye for now, and have a great time with learning your foreign language.